Yes, we are live. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. Thank you for joining us. Today, we have a very interesting session. We are looking forward to this session. What do you think?
I'm also looking forward to
Are you
it.
pumped?
Looking forward to, I'm ready,
Hey,
I'm ready, I'm ready. I was born ready.
Okay, so this is Foundation for Family Affairs. If you're new to our channel, please feel free to hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it. And you know what? You can feel free to share this with as many people as you know, because we know this will make a lot of difference in many marriages. This is Foundation for Family Affairs again. Our mission is to connect hearts and raise healthy family.
Absolutely.
What's the health of your family? What's the health of your marriage? Let's do a temperature check today. Check on that spouse. Check on your spouse. Find out how things are going. Is your spouse really happy? Does your spouse feel heard? Does your spouse feel seen? Does your spouse feel limited in the marriage? It's good to check and then update things. You know, I was telling you about this thing I saw on social media yesterday, and somebody sent a message saying her husband wouldn't let her comment on social media at all. You know, and there was this question as to is that a form of control or you know, and as I thought about it, I asked myself one question that came to mind was what could she have done to warrant this? But somebody listening to me may say, hey, she's an adult. She has the right to do whatever she wants with her presence online and shouldn't be controlled in that sense. So how does your spouse feel? Does your spouse feel controlled? Does your spouse feel at liberty to do what he or she wants to do as a unique individual? So it's good to check these things. I'll let you say something before we dive into what we have for today.
Yeah, the what we have for today is quite interesting, and we're looking forward to it. And generally, the topic of marriage, I was posting somewhere this morning. I said that a healthy marriage is like our health. Sometimes we take it for granted until we lose it.
Right.
All right. A good marriage is like our health. Sometimes we take it for granted until we lose it. All right. So we shouldn't wait for crisis situation to call our attention to be like, you know what, I need to fix something about my relationship. I need to fix myself. I need to work on a few things. Don't wait for crisis. Be proactive about how you do things. And some of these questions will help us address some of the pending issues. Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, so top marriage questions today. We have been collating some questions from our inbox, from our DMs, and we will try to answer address some of these questions today. So the first one we have, did I shoot first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Want to? Okay. Beg your pardon. How can we keep the spark alive in our marriage and prevent intimacy from fading over time? I'll take it again. How can we keep the spark alive in our marriage and prevent intimacy from fading over time? Sometimes you hear this thing of, the first year is the honeymoon phase. You know, so you find people who, some would say the first 5 years. And you find people who, by the time they're going into their 10th year, they say, okay, it's all right. We're not as we used to be, but they think it's okay. I think you call that, is that retrogressive marriage? At least it's not recessed marriage.
Yes.
Okay, so it's retrogressive. And sometimes some spouses get comfortable with this. I think that's the norm, you know, but how can we ignite the fire again?
Personally, I like that question because this is the question from somebody who wants to grow.
Yeah.
Someone who likes what she's seeing or he's seeing and is asking himself or ourselves, how can we preserve this spark? Because think about the word spark. The word spark implies that something is igniting it. All right. So in other words, it's not something that is happening by itself. There is something igniting it. So what are the key things that you guys are doing presently that is creating a positive emotion, positive feeling, positive memories?
Yeah.
Those are the things you need to do consistently. All right. We're going to share a few ideas, but we also want you to reflect and look at your own relationship. All right. What are the things you're doing right now that will keep the spark? For us, one of the things we do is strengthen our relationship, our friendship, because we realize that friendship is so critical to what we share. Strengthening our friendship intentionally being your spouse's friend, looking out for the common interest, looking out for things that will put a smile on your spouse's face. You have to be able to create that kind of a thing. Because people don't have spark. Spark, another word for spark is chemistry.
Yeah.
People don't have spark when they are focusing on each other's weaknesses and they are criticizing each other. In fact, that would be cold water pouring on that spark, whatever spark is left. You have to focus on, and sometimes how to do that is by being grateful for the value that your spouse is bringing to your life. When you sit down and you say, you know what, I'm grateful for XYZ. We were working with a couple a few days ago. I told them, look at each other and write specific things that your spouse is doing that you appreciate.
Yes.
They found it really challenging to list if I would give them a particular figure. Or if you say to anybody, tell me 20 things your spouse is not doing well, I bet they will write 40 for you. They will double it.
All right.
But if you tell them, write 20 things your spouse is, they will have a hard time finding the good things. Why? The brain is focused on negative things. You have to be intentional about looking for the good things your spouse is bringing to your life. What value are they adding to your career? What value are they adding to your family? What value are they adding to your mental health? What value are they adding to your spirituality? What value are they adding to your dreams? These are the thinking, the thoughts pattern that will help you, strengthen that spark. Yeah.
I like the points you shared, but just to add to it, I would say you need to keep exploring new interests.
Yes.
Okay, we're talking about keeping the spark alive.
Absolutely.
You need to explore new interests. There are people, I was speaking with someone and she said they're going mountain climbing. It's a hiking.
Yes, hiking. Yes.
Hiking, yeah. So sometimes, some of those things that would bring a burst of feel-good hormones, learn to spend time together. Sometimes we say this, it's really understated. Spend time together. It could be, they will tell, the research has shown that just as much as 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day will make a whole load of difference to your marriage. Okay. But then we've come to know that it's not just about spending time together, it's about what you do within that time.
Absolutely.
And when we say this, we like to throw out the 60 minutes challenge. Can you spend 60 minutes with your spouse? Just both of you connecting, not with your phones. Okay, without phones this time, without social media, without the television, just both of you talking and connecting. And you do that. You may want to adopt that as a challenge today. The 60-minute challenge. We spend time talking to each other, getting into each other's souls to know what's there. When was the last time we started with asking? When was the last time you did a temperature check? You need that in your relationship, and then get into physical. Be physical. I'd like to say that. Be physical. And when we say that, it includes touch, kiss, hug, non-sexual touch. Non-sexual touch. We need to get to that point where you just touch the person. Sometimes you see that your spouse feels really stressed. Just a touch could, have this release of feel-good hormones.
Is it just a touch or just a touch?
I'm going to be that. Right. Okay. But yeah, just a touch, because the touch could lead to a touch. And that's still good. In fact, okay, since you're going to go there, I'll go somewhere else. Now, what we talk about being physical as well, it's about people also taking advantage of cuddling. When we say cuddling, so it's beginning to lose its effect. Or people say, oh, we don't have time. Oh, you have time to lie together in bed. So that time you're lying together in bed, how about you cuddle? And they say when you cuddle, feel good hormones are released. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and you need that. You need this. This is a mood enhancer. Spend time dancing together as a couple. When you dance, it's there. Your mood is already enhanced, so you're ready for the touch we're talking about. But then, we're talking about connection here. Keeping things alive. Let's not let love go wane. So dry. It can be interesting. Yesterday, when we started the talk, we read what some single people thought about being single, and some said they think it's one. I think some said it's better than being married. No, it shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. You should be enjoying your marriage. I'll let you say something.
Yeah, so it's so important to be. I was listening to you. I forgot what I was going to say. It's so important for us to prioritize these things. You know, sometimes the things that cause the positive experiences in marriage are so small that they are negligible, and people will overlook them. For example, 20 minutes with your partner enjoying each other's company. Most people will say, no, I don't have 20 minutes. Out of 24 hours, you don't have 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
For your marriage.
For your marriage.
It should be priority.
But I bet you when things go wrong, you will invest hours. And the hours will not be to resolve the issue. It will be drafting conflict, drafting legal document, trying to settle what you would. Not just save yourself from all that kind of headache. All right. Very important. So another way you can keep this spark is to change your environment. Sometimes it's just good for step out of your comfort zone. All right. Do something different. All right. Because now there is something I noticed a while ago. I was passing a particular street. It was a street we used to live. And, you know, I was passing there every day. And I didn't notice a particular building until I don't know what happened on that day. I just looked, I said, wow, I've never really noticed this building here. And it has always been here. So sometimes when you are so used to something, used to an environment, sometimes you don't get to see the beauty in your partner. You don't get to see the new things. Leave the familiar environment. Try something new. Break out of your routine. Go somewhere fresh. Discover each other with new pair of eyes. Very, very important. You know, the familiar sometimes can dull you. You just come in. The moment you don't come in, you have a set of habit of what you just do. Or sit down, do this, do this, do this, do this. But when you move to a new environment, you guys are thinking, okay, what do we? For example, I bought this what do you call it now? Scrabble game that we've been trying to play for a while. I'll tell my wife we need to play. Yeah, we'll play. Yeah, we'll play. When we went on vacation, I think early this year, we were forced to play this stuff. But if we were at home, and bet
why were we forced to play that? We went without our laptop. Because
yes, we went without any laptop, no form of work, nothing is going to crawl in. So we had to sit down and play. And it was very beautiful. It was really, you know, this woman knows a lot of words. All right, so very, very interesting. So there are times where you are used to the regular routine. You will not do anything different to discover your partner's strengths in a new way until you shake some of the environment, break away from the routine. Another thing is that don't allow disagreement to linger. Disagreement is like a cold blanket on a spark. I'm telling you, you just allow it to linger. It doesn't mean that disagreement is bad. It's that if you don't resolve it, it can linger. All right, so resolve it as quickly as you can. Address the issue. You know, don't dismiss your partner, because sometimes the bid to address the issue will become defensive. And when you become defensive, you are not validating your partner's feeling. Validating does not mean you accept. Sometimes you may not accept it, but you have to validate. I understand how you feel. I understand that. But from my point of view, this is what I'm looking at. Find a way to resolve, you know, design your own conflict management style that will work for your relationship, you know, and validate that feeling and address it. Because sometimes when these issues are not addressed, life goes on, you guys, but somewhere at the back of your mind, something is just not sitting right. Address it and have a clean air. Let fresh chi come in, let fresh air come in. Don't decluster your emotion about your spouse. Decluster it, just open it up, you know, and address the issues. Very, very critical. When it comes to sparking the relationship, you have to do some of these things. Another thing is that find mentors, find people who have the kind of spark that you want. I tell you that good marriage is contagious. If you spend a lot of time with people that have great marriages that you look at, well, I appreciate this. I'm telling you, something about that interaction, you seeing that kind of a good example as a way of creating a spark. I mean, I like it. I posted a video, like I said some time ago, you know, of a couple that were over 30 years married. They were playing like little children, chasing each other and falling. The video went viral. Why would it go viral? It's not normal. Many people that are 30 years in marriage, they can't stand each other. They are no longer friends. They're just dragging. So to post a video like that of a couple that have been together for 30 years. So 30 years, a child that was born, so it's an adult, it's a man, he won't have his own children. So that's a long time. Think about it, 30 years, 30. If someone spent 30 years in prison, do you know what that means? Half of his life is gone. So for someone to spend 30 years with a woman 30 years with a man, and you are seeing that fun, you are still enjoying, is something to really, really appreciate. And these are some of the little things that you can do to strengthen that spark in your relationship.
Yes, awesome.
Very important.
Awesome. Did we tell them at any point to ensure that they talk? We can't overemphasize.
Absolutely.
You got to talk, and when we say talk, I think we'll deal with that some more in some other questions. But you need to create that environment where people can share what they truly, truly, truly feel.
Absolutely.
What they truly think. It won't be right that I'm here and you're asking me a question and I can't really tell you everything. And we came to be married. Come on, let's do that.
That point is so important, creating an emotional safe space.
Yes, I'll let you take the second question. Which one do we want to take?
Yes. Well, honestly,
it's running.
Okay, I'll just look at this. So, what are the measures to rekindle intimacy and passion after experiencing a rough patch in our marriage? All right. So, after you experience a rough patch, maybe something happened. How do you rekindle? Again, going back to some of the things we addressed earlier on. So, first thing we'd like to find out, what kind of intimacy was impacted? Was it financial intimacy? All right. Was it emotional intimacy? Was it sexual intimacy? All right. So there are different types of intimacy. So if it's sexual intimacy, maybe somebody made a wrong move, or especially by after the sexual experience, your partner made a comment that was quite hurtful. More like, I didn't quite all this, or that comment that you can make after that, because that's a vulnerable moment that can really, really impact someone. So if it's an emotional intimacy, we need to be able to dig down what exactly is the thing. So the question is, what are some of the methods for rekindling intimacy after a rough patch? So first thing, identify the type of intimacy. Another thing to do is address it and resolve it. Like I mentioned earlier on, once that is it's not possible for you to spend a lot of time with somebody and not offend the person. It's not possible. All right. That, in fact, is going to be the person. You want to say something?
Yeah, just to that point, I like to say that relational hurt is inevitable. If we really take that in, it would help us.
Yes.
Relational hurt is inevitable. There's no how we can relate with somebody, interact with somebody, and not be hurt. Like you always say, love is a risk.
To love is to risk rejection.
So it comes with this. It's how we can be this proximate, and I wouldn't, maybe unintentionally or even intentionally, step on his toes.
Absolutely.
But what matters is what we're talking about now. How can we bounce back from that rough patch?
Yes. So you have to address the issue, all right? Because there's no thing about sweeping issues under the carpet. It has not done anybody any good. I tell you, we worked with a lot of couples who address issues head on, not address issues in a way that creates more issues. All right. It's a tact. There are skill set. There's a set of skills you need to be able to address an issue. So, for example, someone says something you don't like. You don't come to the person and say, "Is it because of this? Because of this little thing?" You are trying to address. You are discussing the issue, but you are creating a bigger issue because you are minimizing the pain. You are dismissing the person, and you are demeaning the person in the process. So, trying to address one issue, you are creating 3 other issues. No. So the best way is to look at the issue, address the issue, agree, and apologize. Apologize the way your partner wants to be apologized to. There's a book I read that really gave me a new perspective on this. 5 Apology Language by Gary Chapman. People have different ways they like to apologize. Some people like you, when you apologize, you make restitutions. Some people allow when you apologize, you say it, you demonstrate it, you do something. Some other people, it's fine. So you have to find your spouse's apology language and apologize to them in that way. So someone who wants you to do restitution, for example. So let's say you took something that you did something and probably a property of the person broke. The person wants you to buy them another phone while you're apologizing. So if you just come and say, "I'm so sorry that this happened," they will not feel like you've done any apology. For some people, just that word is important. It's enough for them. All right. So some people apologize through their behavior. Instead of them to say, I'm sorry about this, and they'll be showing you nice gestures and If it's not your spouses, they will not accept it. Even though you are doing some very good things, you are buying them gifts, they will not accept it.
You're expecting them.
You are expecting them to come on and open their mouth and say,
yes.
So no, that will not work. That will definitely not work. So the next thing is to do something you enjoy together. All right. Doing something you enjoy together has a way of bringing positive emotion.
It will be very difficult to get to this point without a rough patch, and that's why I think just before throwing that in, I'll just say you must get to the point where you're willing to let go because you understand that my marriage is more important than the issue we're going through. If we treat marriage with a sense of purpose, that there is a reason we're together. We're not just here. Yes, we're here we would make each other happy. We'll enjoy some happiness in the relationship. But that's not it. That's not all there is to our marriage. So if we treat it that way, we will understand that there are other people who are probably looking up to us. So we will want to make this work. So we must get to the point that yes, I may have forgiven you. Some people forgive, but they don't let go. So they still hold on to that grudge. So you let go, and then what he has just said will begin to kick in. If you don't let go and you keep holding on to that, so whatever the problem was, then we won't be able to forge ahead.
Yes. So it's very important. Don't hold on to that rough patch, and don't try to force your partner to forgive quickly. Because sometimes you can't, the only thing you can do is to apologize and to patiently wait for them to come around. Sometimes people apologize, be like, but I've apologized. Why are you still angry? No, you can't force them to make a switch. But of course, you that is hurt, you don't have to stay on that for too long. All right. Forgiveness is not a gift you give the person who hurt you. It's a gift you give yourself. All right. So that's what I would like to say about that.
We have seen people who have bounced back from rough patches.
Yes, definitely.
We are just sending a message of hope today because someone who's in a relationship where it looks like it's a dead end might think that's it. We're just here, we're just hanging on because sometimes because of the children or because of our commitment to the community, we're concerned about what people would think of us. So to keep faith in quotes, we just carry on, but it is still possible for you to get to that point where love is rekindled in that relationship, where you become intimate again, even more intimate than you used to be. Don't forget there are depths to intimacy, and some of what he has just shared would help you explore those depths. But you must be willing to give your marriage a chance. If you are not willing to give it a chance, then it will be difficult. And when we say this, we understand that sometimes it takes two to tango, isn't it? Because one person may be interested, one person may be willing, and the other may be just wanting to hold on to the whole thing for whatever reason. It could be cultural reason. Oh, you hurt me so deeply, you shouldn't say such things to a man. You shouldn't do such things to a man. But not until we get to the point where we realize that this marriage is bigger than us. And this is where we encourage spouses to get to. Find out why you are together. What's the purpose of your marriage? There's something you both are together for. You may be discounting it. You may not have held it with a lot of, honor. But there is a reason God has brought you together. It may be as simple as impacting even the education sector. Something like that. It's not simple. But just to put it that way, because people make light of it. There is a reason you are together. It might just be to even impact the people in your immediate environment. But let's with that understanding, overlook some of these hurts and move on.
Rough patch will happen, but how long it lasts is dependent on the maturity of the spouses.
So then you can explore traveling. Travel again. Let's get out of this space. It's been too hot and intense. Let's get out a bit and see what we can find there. You'll be shocked. Just traveling could bring a new burst of energy to the relationship.
Another thing I'd like to add is creating from some of boundaries and more like, maybe not boundaries, agreement to be like, okay, what do we do that this doesn't repeat itself? Because it's not good for the same rough. So if you have a partner that just makes financial decisions without consulting their partner, okay, it caused a rough patch at the beginning. You guys made up. If you have a system in place to ensure that he doesn't do that again, she doesn't do that again. All right. So there is no point the same issue repeating itself over and over again. It means someone is not growing. Someone is taking advantage of the other partner's willingness to forgive. No, this often happens in faith-based marriages where people just feel, oh, my husband is a good guy. He's going to forgive. My wife is a good guy. Is a good lady. She's going to. No, don't take your partner's humility for granted or willingness to move on for granted. You know, don't take that for granted because people get to that point where they just resent their partners. You know, you don't want that to happen. It's not healthy for the person who is hurt. It's not healthy for the relationship as well. Yeah.
Yes, we certainly can do better.
Yes.
And just because you have touched specifically on financial intimacy, I thought I'll just talk about maybe emotional intimacy. It could be as a result of breakdown in communication. When I say breakdown in communication, it could be one person is saying, I don't like the way you speak to me. The way you speak to me it makes me feel like I don't matter. So in that case, it impacts the emotional connection between us. You know, so in a case like that, communication is huge. And when we say communication, it's just important for us to know that your body language, they makes up 55% of what you say. Your words make up only 7%. Only. You know, your tone make up 38%. So with that in mind, I know that okay, it's not just about saying something. How I say it is just as important. So you could say something, and for some people, it could run very deep. Especially if your spouse is a person of words, it could run very deep and cause a lot of problem. We're talking about how not to get back to that point again. So it's for us to review things and see how we can improve going forward.
Will you go for the next question? It's not your turn now.
Okay, let me look for. They're all good questions.
Yes.
They're all very good questions. Let me see. There's one I think we need to talk about. This one, when I saw it, I thought this person is setting it up. What are some ways to embrace and celebrate each other's differences in a marriage? What are some ways to embrace and celebrate each other's differences in a marriage? I want to put that question there for the benefit of our audience so they can follow us as we talk. All right. So when we talk about marriage, you know, we try to focus on intimacy in marriage. Sometimes it could be misunderstood. People think you're saying because you're now intimate, you lose your difference, your uniqueness in the marriage. Certainly not. Okay, so when we're talking about intimacy, it's just us working towards the point of becoming one. And when we say becoming one, it doesn't mean becoming the same. Because at that point, it means he would be robbing me of my uniqueness. I would be robbing him of his individuality. And that's not what marriage is about. It's that we come together and we put together our differences, and in no time they become strength. You know, they make a lot of difference in our marriage. We are certainly not the same. But if I came into this marriage and he starts saying to me, no, you have to be this way, you have to talk like this, he'll be taking from me. No time I'll be shrinking. And no spouse should shrink in marriage. Marriage should be a place where we blossom. It's a place of multiplication. So I should even be better. I should discover aspects of me that were not there. Even as a single person, I've come with this person who is so intelligent, so loaded. I mean, he's a coach himself. So if he's not coaching me, if I'm not his first coach, who else should be? You know, it is expected that, in fact, if you're saying to people, I'm a coach, you should be asking, what does your spouse look like? Okay. Oh no, this woman feels like she's worn out, she's tired of life. I can't let you coach me.
Wow.
You know, so your spouse should be a testimonial to what you say. You should be able to show that off. But it won't happen if you are constantly making this person shrink. And like you like to say, if you have the predominant personality in the marriage, then you have to be very intentional to ensure that your personality is not subduing the other. It could be either sex, it could be the woman. And you have a spouse who is probably phlegmatic, and you're probably choleric. It's not a wrong thing. That's who you are. That's how God has made you.
Absolutely.
We've got to celebrate that difference, you see. But then you don't in marriage use that to subdue your spouse, such that your spouse loses his voice, or almost everything he says is discounted. That won't be right at that point, So it's a place of celebrating our differences. We'll come with our differences, and our differences will make a whole lot of difference in that world.
Oh, I like that. I like that. So the first thing, what I hear you say is that our mindset about differences need to change. All right. Yeah. You can't see differences only as negative. There are many positive things that differences bring to the table. Yeah. So let's give an example of a difference. Difference in way people handle money. All right. Some people like to save.
Yes.
Some people like to spend. Yeah. All right. So people like to save, who often make sure that there is always money. Some of you have family members, parents that no matter how bad the economy is, they will have money. They are savers. Yeah. They would never go without. They are savers. They manage situations correctly so that the future they'll have something. Some people think their philosophy is that life is to be enjoyed. Why save, and you may not be alive to enjoy it? Let's enjoy it now. Now, those two paradigms, which are not properly managed, they can create rifts in the financial situation in marriage. What you now have to do is to create a common vision that will manage that. Yes. But the person who like to spend, more likely probably to know where the good deals are, because they're subscribed to different emails that will tell you, oh, Clark is doing sales, oh, this one is doing sales, or this company is doing sales. They know.
So ultimately, you'll be saving.
Ultimately, you'll be saving. Or, of course, if you are buying something that is needed, but sometimes you're buying what is not needed. All right. So, but what we're trying to say is that everyone will have their own advantage. Yeah. And sometimes God brings people into our lives so that we'll make contribution to them. So if you keep noticing, I think one of my mentors said something, that a problem that you can't stand, that you keep observing, or you get irritated about in your organization, in your partner, maybe that's the problem you're supposed to solve. Rather than saying, why are you not disorganized? What role can you play for the person to be a better version of themselves? Not to become like you, because they will never be.
That's right.
All right. But to help them, get better in that area. So it's very important for you to do that. The other thing is that don't compare your spouse with another person's spouse. All right. The question is, what are some of the ways you can embrace? Okay. To embrace is to pull something closer. To reject is to push it away. Accept, yes. All right. So what are the ways? So if you compare your partner with another guy somewhere else, another lady, oh, why is she not like this? Why is she not this way? Why is she not that way? You will never embrace her strengths, because what we are focusing on are the weaknesses. All right. So embrace who you love, embrace who you've married, embrace their strengths, embrace their weaknesses, accept them, not putting a clause at the back of your head that I will accept her if she is a conditional. No, that's not love. All right. True love is, I accept you the way you are. That's why we often tell singles.
Unconditional.
Unconditional, yeah. So that's why we tell singles, look at the guy very well, look at his strengths, look at his weaknesses. If he doesn't change, will you still love him? If the answer is yes, go ahead. If the answer is no, I can't stand if he doesn't change this, just let him be, because people relax once they are married. They may not change. Some people change, but just have it at the back of your mind that if this person doesn't change, will I see? If he's yes, then if he change, it will be a bonus. Rather than you saying, oh, I married you because you never used to go to church. Now you have to go to church. But you saw him like that. Some people want to marry someone and to change the person. That's their program. No, you can't change. People have to decide to change. So embrace, you must do that. You must be able to look at them. Don't compare them. Comparison is a thief of joy. You will never see the good in your partner, because you keep comparing their weakness with somebody else's strength. Okay?
I was just going to say that, looking at us, male, female, we are different.
Completely.
And there's a reason God made us that way.
Absolutely.
It starts with that.
Yes.
Okay, celebrate our biological difference.
Yes.
And when I say that, I want to go a bit into, the sexual part of things. Because sometimes, as a man, they will tell you, oftentimes, research has shown they're more physically, they're moved by sight, right? So just undressing before your husband could get him turned on, and for most women, it would take, more than that. They would need to stimulate her senses through what she hears. especially touch as well. You know, now what that says is if the man gets into marriage and it feels like, I don't understand why she keeps complaining after sex, that's you not embracing her difference at that point. Because when you understand that it will take her a while to get to the peak of it, unlike yourself, then you will realize that I need to be more patient with her. I need to help her get there. I need to build her up to that point. So it becomes a journey for us rather than a destination where you just do it and that's it. So you want her to climax as well, but it matters how you get her there, because how you go about it also decides if she gets there sooner. You know, so I just thought I would use that as an example to further portray what we're talking about. And that's us just accepting our biological difference. You know, we are different, certainly.
Another biological difference that I like to talk about is the way men process information. If you tell a man, you cook this meal and it's a little salty, you just take it as fact. If you tell a woman it's a little salty, what it means that you don't like her. She hears something completely different.
Emotional side.
She hears it from an emotional point of view. So she will not hear that, oh, okay, I can do better next time. The choice is that you are not good enough, you don't know how to cook, you don't know how to do anything. And that is the interpretation they get to that information. So that's the information. Another thing is that the way men process pain is different. A man would like to, I'm talking about differences now.
And what we're saying, the way they do things is research based, based on more people of that gender.
Yes. So when they are in probably something that they are trying to process, usually they like to withdraw into their cave. Generally speaking, not everyone. All right. So women regularly or usually would like to just talk, and while they are talking, they are processing the pain. A guy most times will want to process the pain by relaxing and retrieving into his cave. So one of the ways as a lady that you can embrace that change is not to try to force your spouse to talk to you when they are telling you, can I have some time to just process something? Okay. Oh, why you're always going by yourself, you're always withdrawing from us. No. Or when the lady is trying to talk to you to, sharing, and you're like, oh, no, just tell me, like I do that. There was the time my wife was sharing a story. Oh my word. I was telling her, just go to the end of it. What's happening? Yeah, she said, wait. She was telling me and she was saying I was feeling so uncomfortable. It was a scary story. I was like, babe, I want to know if these people made it. Yeah, just go to the end of it. Then I can listen patiently. She said, no. Why? Most times ladies want to communicate because to somebody that they prioritize, they want to take you on that journey to connect with you. Not just, well, we guys usually what we want is the headline. Yeah, how was work today? It was fine. I met this. You have to say, well, wife, how was work today? Oh my word. She's going to give you a detailed description of what happened step by step. So usually, generally speaking, we are different in that regard as well. But don't try to change your partner.
I'm catching up now.
Yes. Don't try to don't try to change your partner to make them become somebody else, to make them like the type of music, to make them like your type of movie. Sometimes I say to my wife, the kind of movie she likes to watch is different from the kind of movie I like. She can sit with some kind of romantic movie and like, oh, they're just fucking all through. Oh, no. I'm waiting for when they're going to shoot and somebody's going to be pushed. You can't see any of that.
Do you know the funny thing with that? First few years of marriage, I thought it was really, so sweet.
Oh, yeah.
I think that it was just very.
Oh my God. Oh, and those movies have series. Those kind of series where you're thinking, babe, when are you going to finish? You just sit with her. Oh no. Once she's put in the movie, I just leave her and go upstairs after a while, But now I'm trying. So let me not make a promise I commit myself.
Change people.
I'm trying where you just sit down. I'll say that, babe, just watch. I'm not watching. Then after a while, I find myself asking questions. Oh, so this, oh, so that. Because we are just different. You need to accept your partner's difference and celebrate it. The last point I like to make on this is to look at the value her difference has brought to your life. Right? My wife is very detailed. All right, it has really helped us in our finances. has helped us in a lot of plan, that helped us in our ministry, very detail-oriented, very systematic in the way she does things. That's value. There are some things I can't do. Just I can't do just because of by my nature, but she brings that to the table. So it's a good mix that now helps us to have the kind of relationship that we have. So you have to be grateful for that. When you are grateful for something, you cannot have a negative feeling about it at the same time. So gratitude is such a powerful emotion that just envelopes everything.
Yes, that's been very good. Very good. I'd like to take the next one.
Okay, so let's see what is the next one we want to take. As a number one, I don't mind you also choosing if you're faster than I am. What can we effectively?
Okay, let's look at this one.
Yeah.
What are signs of a healthy, thriving marriage, and how can we work towards achieving it?
Okay, I like that one.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you know you are in a healthy relationship? How do you know you are in a healthy marriage? How do you know? Well, there are different ways. Okay, how will I know that our relationship is healthy? Number one, we have intimate communication.
Yeah.
We have an atmosphere where I can be myself. That's very important for me. If I'm in a relationship that I don't really enjoy, I'm not myself. I don't really talk. You just see me quiet. I'll just be listening. Right? Because there's no point talking to the person. The person is either too cantankerous or too having such a large ego that they want to be right. So it's not the kind of atmosphere. Or doesn't listen. Or it's not actively listening. So there's most people. Oh, let me talk about myself. I don't really. I just kind of keep quiet and I'll just be observing. People go, oh, why are you not talking? But already I've made an assessment of the situation. Like there's no point talking in this situation. So for me, that we're in a healthy marriage is that I can actually voice my thoughts without feeling like I'll be judged or somebody or my partner, my wife will use it against me. For me, that's a sign of health. Vulnerability, right? Naked and not ashamed.
What you said is just powerful. Sorry, I have to react to that. Because when you say your spouse will use it against you, sometimes it's not like you're even going out, maybe you're using it against him before your friends or other people. No, even within yourself. Probably something happens and you start linking it to it. Or he does something and you say, oh, no wonder, that's why you are, or that's why you do that's why you've done this. That at that point you're stabbing the heart of that person. You're teaching that person not to open up again. You need to be very careful. Very careful.
I like what you said. You're teaching the person not to open up again. Because sometimes people say, oh, my partner, my wife, my husband used to open up. We used to share a lot, but now he doesn't talk. He just watches me. He doesn't discuss. Why? Because some things in the past, you've taught him not to do it. Well, each time he says it, you use it against him. You share it with your family member, share it with your mother, and everybody looking at him through that prism. You have moved on from that issue, but they have not moved on. All right, so you have to be very, very careful about that. So that's one.
Let me share one.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I think a healthy marriage should be one where we have healthy boundaries. There are boundaries in marriage within us and externally. When we talk about that, it entails many things. It could be our interactions with in-laws. That's a boundary. What are boundaries? Just us putting that line that protects our marriage. That's to protect the marriage. There could be boundaries where sometimes the one person is uncomfortable with the allow me use this term, but the intrusive nature of in-laws. And that person feels barraged. That person feels like every time they come, I can't be myself. It's no longer my home. You have brought your spouse. You both have built this as your home. It should be a place of safety for both parties, even emotional safety. So your spouse shouldn't be feeling that way. So it's about you both communicating as to how you can create boundaries on that issue regarding your marriage. How can we protect both of ourselves, from this kind of attack? I'll put it that way. That's a bit too much, but yes, and then still talking about boundaries. There should be boundaries where I feel safe. Talking about fidelity now. Okay, it's not right that someone is in marriage and feels like, oh, he's going to go off and probably sleep with somebody. That level of unpredictability is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. So we should be keeping those boundaries. The fact that even before marriage, you should have boundaries really to protect your health, to know not to do that. But then when you are married, you are in commitment with someone. Your sex life is exclusive. Your sex life is exclusive, and there must be boundaries around it. So there are a lot of areas we can create boundaries, even as a family. You have children who complain about somebody, or that person comes and you can see that your child's reactions have changed, and that child is really uncomfortable. We are there to protect them. We should create an environment that makes them feel safe, not make them feel uncomfortable. No, that shouldn't be happening. So we should want to query. It matters how we go about that, so we can create the right boundaries around this. Healthy boundaries.
Yes.
Boundaries around your emotions. Boundaries around emotions. I shouldn't just think it's okay for me to dump my emotions. It matters how I do it. That, when we say, how do you say it? Familiarity should not breed contempt.
Rather, it should
breed intimacy.
Yes.
So I know what my spouse cannot take. Sometimes we say this and people say, oh, but he should accept me the way I am. That's how I talk. How about you? We also learn to talk. Communication is a skill. We can improve on it. So as we keep intentionally observing some of these things, we will get better, certainly. So if you think your marriage is important, your spouse should be treated with dignity and honor, then there is a way not to talk, even in your private moments. Some people don't talk in a certain way publicly, but then what they say to their spouses in private can kill. Like the spouse just stands there and dies. Like, you might as well just shoot me now. And that's really not nice. Let's learn to speak with grace. Let's learn to speak with grace. Let's be more intentional about that we might minister grace to the hearers. Our first hearers are our spouses. Those in our immediate environment, our children. That will minister grace to them.
Yeah. So another way I know that I'm in a healthy place with you is that you prioritize me, and I do the same for you. All right. So as busy as we are, as the myriad of goals we chase, the time at work these days, work tries to eat up every time possible. It's possible for you to be working in your sleep. Some employers will get you to work in your sleep. But in the midst of all that, looking after your children, looking after yourself, you prioritize your partner as a healthy relationship. Where your partner sits in the afterglow, your partner sits in that place. And it's not just in your mind psychologically, you actually act it out. You actually demonstrate it. You actually show it in the little things that you do, in caring for your partner, in looking out for their best interests, in looking out for their needs. That is a sign of a healthy relationship. All right. It's not when you are always taking backseat. Oh, let me just finish this. Oh, yeah, you will understand. Oh, she will understand. You go off, I sometimes you watch some videos on social media, and one man was complaining that, oh, the children doesn't like him, they don't connect with him, they only connect with their mother. Why? He was always working away from home for a long time. He was not staying, so he was not connecting. The children were getting all they needed from him through their mom. So in their head, it was just their mom that was looking after them. Their head, their father abandoned them. Now that they are old, they don't have any form of positive connection or positive memory or emotional connection with him, and he's angry. It's too late. My dad used to say something to us like, as the twig is bent, so the tree inclines, or something. As the twig is bent, so when you plant a tree, when it's still flexible, and you see it bend, adjust it then and straighten it up, put support. If you don't, that's how it will become a tree and it will be bent like that. So when you notice something quickly, don't wait for it to take roots. Address the issue. All right. So prioritizing your partner in the midst of all the hustling and bustling, the busier you are, the more valuable it will be. But as busy as this woman is, as busy, we have very powerful women these days, and many of them are married, happily married, so because they know how to balance things. Not in those days to say, oh, it's either you choose career or you choose family. No, there are many people who have told us, shown us, demonstrated that you can have both and have it very well.
Okay, so have we even answered the question? What are the signs? Okay, yeah, we're talking about how we work towards achieving that. Yes. It's about us being very intentional.
Absolutely.
Being deliberate about it and giving our marriage the priority it deserves. Yes.
We need to also invest in emotional, what we call emotional bank account. I think this concept was created by Stephen Covey. Emotional bank account. Emotional bank, so like a financial bank account where, in case you've not heard about it before, the financial bank account, you make deposits there. Oh, I'm dropping £10,000, £20,000, £30,000. The same way people have emotional bank account in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like an expectation. And you make, so when each time I do something positive for her, I'm making deposit into that emotional bank account. Each time I do something like, oh, she's not expecting me to bring a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. No, she doesn't need coffee as much. A cup of tea, and I make it the way she wants it. I say deposit. I do something that she's not expecting. I say deposit. She just say my wife often does that. She say, oh, baby, God bless you. Oh, baby. I've never seen something that I've done for her that she does not acknowledge and say, oh, thank you. And you should just say acknowledge. She knows me. I would say, so you do not notice
but having why? Said that, I will have to do more of that.
Yeah, no, but you do it. I'm saying you do. But once in a while, when she sleeps, I say, so you did not notice, you say, but I told you. Yeah. That's just how we just poke fun at each other. It's very important for you to make those deposits in your partner. Don't just wait and take them for granted. After all, that's what you're supposed to be doing. It's the job of a man or it's the job of a woman. No, that is, you are developing an entitlement mindset. An entitlement mindset will take away what you are used to getting. Because the person will be like, okay, you think I'm your slave? All right, I'll do the barest minimum. No, appreciate even the smallest gesture. The smallest thing. Your partner brought your clothes in from outside. Just appreciate it. Oh, they did something. Appreciate it. Oh, they ironed your shirt. Appreciate it. Don't just say, that's what you're supposed to do. Oh, that's what. Oh, you have not done this. No. Appreciate every little thing you do. Very important. Yeah.
I wanted to say another good sign would be dealing with conflict as a team. Dealing with conflict as a team.
That's very
what that shouts out is that you focus on the issue, not your spouse. Yeah. So when there's a problem, we both go after that problem. What could be the problem? And when we're a team, we know that we can't be fighting each other. We're in this together. So it's us against this issue. So united we stand. A house divided against itself will not stand. So if I go against my spouse in the face of an issue, we'll definitely break. And then we'll be surprised that we've broken.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? You have spouses like that. You've just gone against your spouse. You're making the opponent here. Why are you surprised that your marriage is breaking up? But it should be you against that issue, no matter what. We're first a team. We're together in this. Let's clarify that. Then we go after this issue. What could be the issue? Is it an addiction? Because sometimes too, for something like this, we make our spouse the opponent. If we realize he's not the problem, okay, if I truly say he's not the problem, then how can we deal with it? But then that spouse must know that I need your collaboration for us to deal with this. So whatever it would take to deal with this issue, we'll fight it together. You must submit to the process. If the process requires therapy, you will submit yourself to go through that excruciating process for the health of our marriage. We're talking about signs of a healthy and thriving marriage. It doesn't matter what our problem is. If we come with that perspective against the problem, we will tackle it head on. Okay. Let me add one more then. So I thought we'd take one more question very quickly. Let's see how much we can push. One other thing would be that you have a fulfilling sex life. So why are you going up on that one?
Yeah, talk about it. Yeah. No, this is, you can't talk about intimacy, you talk about romance, talk about family. We have to talk about this point.
It's kind of a healthy and thriving.
Yes.
It doesn't mean there will be periods where you could have your sexual issues. I'll say that. Right? Maybe your wife's just had a baby, and at that point it's taking her a while to come around. You need to patiently do it.
Absolutely.
You need to seek the help she needs at that time if she does need help. Is she going through menopause? But there are solutions to these things. People shouldn't sit back. There are things you can eat to help you, during the process. There are times it may just be your mind. You need to speak to your mind. And sex is they say your greatest sexual organ is the mind. So you need to work on your mind as well. But that's very important, that we have a fulfilling sex life. When it's fulfilling, both parties are satisfied. It's not just one person who is satisfied. So we're looking out for each other.
Fantastic.
You want to try it?
Yes, I want to just talk about I think that I have nothing.
You want to say you seem very interested in the sex talk.
Yeah, no. All right. So what I was going to say, my final thoughts, and my final thought is invest in your emotional growth. All right. There's a book I'm listening to now, How to Manage Your Emotions. All right. You can look for it. How to Manage Your Emotions. Invest in emotion, and some of what I've learned so far is really powerful. When the young man said something, well, I don't know if it's a young man. The author said something. He said, when you have positive emotions, things taste better. You are happier. You are able to achieve something much more. The way you are assessing a situation is different than when you are in a negative emotional state. All right. So happy people, even when something bad is happening to them, or people who are positive emotions, something bad, the way they interpret it is slightly different than when they're already feeling horrible about themselves. Little things can be magnified to be a very big issue. That's a very powerful thing. So sometimes what people think is what we call irreconcilable difference. Sometimes the emotional state of the individual is tired, exhausted, and worn out. And so that's just comes on board and it becomes a last straw. Remember, they say straw. A straw is supposed to go, it's not supposed to break a camel's back. Because a straw is a very light, but the camel is already worn out, tired, too much load on the camel. Just a little straw just breaks the camel back. Let's fix and work on our emotion. All right, let's look for that book. Other book I'm going to recommend, Emotional Intelligence. But this one,
what's the title again?
I just said it a while ago.
Try to find
Managing Your Emotions. Managing Your Emotions. Yeah. So look for that book. Really, really cool.
Okay, last words for our people. Last words.
So the last word I would like to say is, prioritize your emotional growth. That's the last word. Prioritize your emotional growth. Yes, it will really, really improve your relationship.
On that basis, I'm going to put one of the videos we've done with my emotional training.
Yes, my marriage. Yeah.
Really, really powerful.
Yes.
But hey, marriage is beautiful. We can do marriage well. We commit to it. It will take your willingness. You were saying at one point you were speaking, and I thought I would say I would react to this. Divorce is expensive, but guess what? Intimacy is priceless. No, put a price on it.
Yes.
It does a lot to your emotional well-being. It does a lot to your mental health. It does a lot to your family, the energy in your family. We have a lot of resources on our YouTube channel which you can benefit from. Go through them. We've done a lot of videos on emotional intimacy, financial intimacy, intimacy on its own. And those would benefit your marriage. They'll be a benefit to your marriage. Let's treat marriage like it matters. Yes.
I was going to say, actually, the title of the book is Master Your Emotions, a practical guide to overcome negativity and better manage your feelings. About Mrs. I hope I pronounced it right.
Maurice. Yeah, but master your emotions. That's it. And it's been wonderful doing this. Thank you to everyone who's joined us.
Really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. And feel free to share this with as many people as you know will need them.
Absolutely.
Someone in your cycle certainly needs one of the things we talked about. You can share a chapter of the video because we'll chapterize them.
Yeah.
Share a chapter of the video with them.
Like it, leave your comment. It helps YouTube to push it to more people that will like videos like this. All right, so that the impact of what we're doing can reach out to more people. Basically, that's it.
Okay, until we come your way again, it's goodbye from us, lovely people.